I'm a champion, mother effer.
Oh, whoa, easy now. We're on a live show there, Coach. We just had one of our guests on, Jason Fry, talking about the Celtics are going to win their 19th championship. So what have you got to say about that?
Who this Jason Fry character is, he was talking about doing hard shit. Well, his prediction is bullshit. Okay. All right.
With one episode without Jerry. One episode without.
Can't do it. Can't do it. Ain't gonna do it. Just ain't gonna do it.
Well, like I said, we start the show with a joke.
Hey, maybe JJ could tell a joke.
What are we doing here? Already? We're already doing this? Holy shit. Oh, I did.
Go back and look.
I think you were trying to shave.
I'm 40.
I think you're trying to cover your own ass right now and just
Best
not admit
country of
you were
ninth
wrong.
in the country.
I think you're just trying to cover your ass right now. And don't.
You know what? I got a big ass, so
That's a
it
lot
would
of
take
cover.
a lot of cover. It'd take a blanket, damn it.
More like a drape.
Did you just pull a drape? Is that so I can open it up when I need to go? You know,
Hey, you're getting too deep into this.
Rivalries make sports great, but they got to be on the same level. And I'm sorry, Angel Reese ain't on the level of Caitlin Clark. Like, it's not Magic Bird.
You're a former coach. The fact that you don't understand what I'm saying is probably why you're a former coach, homie. All right. That's what I'm gonna say. Any dude who can create an AAU team can say they're a coach. If you don't want to commit to it, take your ass and be a PE all-star.
first off, you need to get your facts effing straight.
How do you like me now? How do you like me now? What? You're the coach. Shut up, dude. I won 5 Super Bowls, damn it. How dare you call the Cowboys a shit team? Watch the Cowboys. It'll be fun, they said. Bloody fucking hell, it was no fun.
It was like riding a train around one of the Kardashians' asses, and you just disappear into this abyss of ass.
If you smell like ass and you look like ass, you play like ass.
Somehow he talked about buttholes that made me hungry for a PBJ sandwich.
Parents, stop planning vacations during your son or daughter's athletic season.
If you look up at the scoreboard and it's 35-7, and it's only 7 because you just scored, shut up.
Are you telling me coaches like Coach Popovich does plays in spaghetti noodles?
The thing about Coach Popovich is he actually liked to use popcorn with super glue.
Popcorn with super glue?
Yeah, he would put super glue little magnets on the bottom, and then he would arrange them on the board, and he would like color them different colors, and that would signify the opponents. And yeah.
Are those the players?
I don't want to give away any industry secrets on that particular thing, but yeah, I'm just gonna say you gotta. Yeah, I don't really know what I'm saying no more. No, I just want to let everyone know that I'm a champion. Goodbye.
And they're playing with sticks, and they're playing with a little puck all the time.
Expert analysis right there. They play with sticks and pucks. Talking about last names, Stankhoven. He put the stank on him, and that was terrible. I'm sorry. I tried.
His mom not going to like you for that.
It's playing in these ridiculous places. They played in Ireland. Kicking American football in Ireland.
Trying to grow the game, man. Global game.
These people, they don't give a damn.
Well, I don't really know, but it drives me nuts. You're almost going to laugh. I can see it. Almost fixing to lose it. It drives me nuts.
Oh, man.
Oh, you didn't know? Your ass better call somebody.
folks.
That was a long intro.
With the same length as last week.
I don't know, man.
Listen, why don't you go back and watch the tape and not interrupt my monologue to introduce yourself.
Okay. First off, I know I'm Gen X, but we don't use tape anymore. So
you know what I mean, okay? Well, folks, I am Casey, the remix schedule, the sickly, going to try to power through this. Across from me is the bald and the beautiful, the original Eddie schedule. Yeah, the Navy said, "You're never sick. Here's some ibuprofen," is how it was when I was in.
Always have it on the table.
Ibuprofen when you were in. So,
well, they say veterans live off three things, and that's nicotine, which luckily I don't, Motrin, and caffeine. That's basically our bloodstream.
That's about right. Well, folks, I don't think we're going 2 hours tonight. We went a little long last week, but hey, that's a gift to you guys, I hope. We appreciate y'all tuning in. We know we're battling the Notre Dame Penn State game tonight. That's going to be a tough one to overcome. Hopefully, we'll give you some live updates while the game's going on. And I'm putting the old man in charge of that. So someone scores.
It's exciting right now with 5:56 in the first quarter. Left in the first quarter, it is still 0-0.
There you go. There's your live college football update. We got our NFL season wrap up. Surprising teams, good and bad from both of us. We got our NFL awards. We know who my MVP is. If you keep up with the show, you know what I'm saying. We got offensive player of the year, defensive player of the year, rookie of the year, comeback player of the year. We got the FS1 scandal that's going on that the old man didn't want to talk about, but I'm forcing him to talk about it. And then we got beefs in the NBA. You got Shaq and Dwight Howard going at it. You got Charles Barkley and LeBron going at it. And then, of course, we got to talk about the Cowboys and what the hell are they doing with Big Mike. I just nicknamed him Big Mike tonight. That's my new
They're all in. They're all in.
Yeah, all in.
Because they ain't letting nobody out. They're all in.
They're all locked in. That's what
I mean. They're all in because they ain't letting them out.
Yeah, we got another sports peeve segment, and we got playoff picks with Pops. And our last visit from our long-lost cousin, Sir George, tonight might be a little while before we see Sir George. He's going to go on holiday since he was working during the Christmas holiday season. So hopefully everyone, if you see Sir George out there on vacay, say hi to him and tell him to work on his pyrotechnic skills because we don't want any more holiday pudding on fire.
Set the king's pudding on fire.
He did do that.
Not touching that.
All right. Well, let's start with the NFL. NFL wrap up. And I'm going to let you go first. Who was your most surprising positive team? I have a feeling I know where you're going with this, but hit the people with some knowledge.
The most surprising positive team?
Yeah.
Is there any
season that no one expected?
Is there any doubt?
Yep. Is it coming out already?
Yep. Sam Darnold. Did anybody think that Sam Darnold was going to light up the league and be at least on the list for MVP? He's not MVP, but nobody picked the Vikings to do that well. Nobody.
And no one was picking him to be their starting quarterback either. With Sam Darnold. Great job by the Vikings. They're my surprise positive pick as well. I wasn't giving them much credence at the beginning of the year, and I'm going to give you credit where credit is due, old man. You were on them from the beginning of the year, after about week 2. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to give you credit.
Yes, I've had the hat for a while. So
Well, you originally had that hat for other reasons that are not going to be discussed on this show.
Yeah, no, that's another show. So
That's a podcast you're not doing with your son. I know that.
okay, you're getting weird.
Well, we're talking about weird stuff today. Who's your negatives, man? Who's the negative teams or team?
Well, obviously, we're going to talk about them, but the Cowboys, to me, just fell off the mark. But I'll tell you, the one team that I thought was going to do a lot better was really the Falcons. I thought the Falcons, but unfortunately, it's typical Cousins. And he's a good guy. He's a good guy. I don't think he's a bad guy, but for some reason, he's just one of those guys who just can't find the rhythm to keep it going through the playoffs and get there. So I thought Atlanta was going to be a lot better. I thought they had pieces in place. I thought Cousin improved that he's going to take this thing to another level. But yeah, the Falcons to me, along with the Cowboys, I thought the Cowboys would be better, but injuries just killed us. And of course, no running game. Even though Zeke has found a new home. And we'll talk about that in just a little bit.
Squad.
Hmm?
He's on the practice squad.
Doesn't matter. He's got a chance at a ring. Because when we talk about Super Bowl picks, I'll bring some of this stuff up.
Zeke, I hope the people go back and blast you for your Zeke love fest you had before the season. You're like, oh, he's going to have a guy here, and he's going to be back, and he's got something to prove, and he's best friends with Dak. That was the biggest fail of the Dallas Cowboys season.
Well, who's your team that you feel was surprise losers?
Well, I mean, Cowboys are obvious, right? But I'll go ahead and Derek agrees with me. Cowboys are horrible. So, thank you, Derek, for chiming in. So, but yeah, obviously the Cowboys, but they did fight a lot of injuries, and that's to be expected. But when you go through an off season like they did and didn't add anybody, they added your boy Kendricks that you loved from the beginning, but man, he's solid, but he's not a game wrecker, right? He's a placeholder.
He also had to play a lot of the season without Micah in there, and you saw the difference in the defense when Micah's in there.
It was 4 games that we didn't have Micah. It wasn't half the season or anything.
It was a while. But did I get a second team that I can say was a big surprise that they?
Yeah, I got 2 more.
Huh?
I got 2 more negatives. If you got another positive, throw it in there, or another negative.
Well, no, I'm going to throw in. Okay, so you want me throwing another positive?
You go with how you feel.
Well, okay. So for positive, then it's definitely going to be the Buccaneers. Although Buccaneers were another team that I said at the beginning of the year, I like Baker Mayfield. I think you've got 2 quarterbacks in Baker Mayfield and Darnold that have found a good spot, a good place. Baker showed it last year, and he came right back out and did it. They won the division again. And he's got, Evans on that team, which former Aggie. But Evans is one of the best receivers in the game, in my opinion. And so the Buccaneers would be the other surprise. I guess that's kind of what I'm saying for both NFC teams. AFC didn't really have anything except I'll talk the Chargers, but the Chargers are kind of where I thought they'd be. They weren't a big surprise. I thought bringing in um, their coach was going to be a big plus for them. So there's my two positives and my one negative. I have another negative, but I'll let you go.
All right. Well, Derek adds negative Texans. They made the playoffs, but that division is atrocious. That is an accurate statement. So
Yeah.
if y'all got opinions out there, throw the comments on there. We'll put you up on the screen. We'll talk about it. But my negative was I got two more was the Jets and the hope
Yeah,
with
that's one
Aaron
of mine.
Rodgers and that defense and Garrett Wilson and they thought they were really going to be something. Last year he gets hurt on the first play of the game, and so ultimately, I think the Jets ended up being a pretty big disappointment, 5-12. I think whoever needs a quarterback should go get Zach Wilson because they seem to turn out. Their old quarterbacks turn out to be good quarterbacks other places, like Sam Darnold, like Geno Smith. Zach Wilson might be the next big thing. So it'll be interesting to see what Aaron Rodgers does. And my other one, same boat as the Cowboys, is the 49ers.
Mm-hmm.
Quarterback gets hurt, misses most of the season. Brock Purdy is back, but they dealt with a lot of injuries. And people want to smash the Cowboys for their performance. Why ain't no one smashing the 49ers like, oh, they had injuries, they had excuses, but the Cowboys didn't. So it's
the Cowboys.
I don't like that gold dome privilege out there in San Fran.
Yeah, well, it's the Cowboys. That's why. And everybody there's talk about Purdy being moving, or I heard some type of rumor about that. But yeah, the 49ers, but you mentioned the Jets. There was so much hype about Rodgers coming back that the Jets were going to be, right there with the Bills. Obviously, they were not. Another surprise negative to me was how bad the Titans fell. The Titans really, and just like Derek was talking about, that division is just terrible. But, I guess there always seems to be this, the Titans are going to figure it out, but they obviously did not. And then the Jaguars, obviously with the injuries they had this year, fired their coach, obviously. So yeah, that AFC South right now is should be called the AFC Soft because it's just not a good division in football. And I agree. The Texans kind of cruise to winning that division pretty easy.
Well,
We'll see how they do in the playoffs. But
you mentioned the Titans, man. I mean, you let Derrick Henry go. You're going to take a step back and try to replace him with Tony Pollard. Which Tony's a good back, but he's not Derrick Henry. And so you had that element to it. There's just a lot, not a lot.
It also goes
trying to win.
It also goes to a lot of people saying that the run and running backs don't matter in the league anymore. Well, take a look at where the two premier running backs in Barkley and Mr. Henry went, and look how their teams went. You've got to have that run game to be able to set up a play action pass. You've got to have that run game to slow the game down some when it gets too fast. So for all the talk that the running game is not what it used to be, it still is a major factor. And that's why I think this upcoming draft, some teams are going to need to seriously think about that, because if you look at the Ravens at the top of their division, the Eagles at the top of their division, what do they both have in common? I must say one of them has a great quarterback. I'm going to say he's a good quarterback and Hurts, whereas Lamar Jackson, who is my we'll talk about this in a little bit, who to me is the best player in the league.
Interesting. Yeah. Sorry. Got something in my throat trying to get through this. All right, let's go ahead and follow that up. Who you think is the best player in the league? Our NFL awards. Who is your MVP?
You know who it is.
Well, let the people
and you know who it sure ain't. It is Lamar. I am the best player in the league. I only threw 4 interceptions the whole year. Jackson. He is an authentic MVP.
Well, careful, Ryan Clark. Careful.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So that's who my
Lamar. I mean, it's one of those things that you're good and you're not good with it. Either side of it. I think his numbers are inflated because he has Derrick Henry. I think that opens up the passing game by evidence of what he did this year. His numbers are career highs. I think the MVP, the most valuable player to their team with a successful season, I've been saying it all year, is Josh Allen. It's Josh Allen. You can't name a wide receiver outside of Amari Cooper who is hurt who plays for them. Still.
Name one on the Ravens?
Yes, Zay Flowers. Mark Andrews.
Okay. Oh, okay. So, but you know those, but you don't know Buffalo's.
No,
Okay.
I don't actually. And I wasn't that if I don't know them, I'm talking about you don't know them.
The bottom line is the numbers show Lamar. Now, both of them have a problem. Both players have a problem. And the players in Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen, of course, Lamar Jackson has gone further than Josh Allen in the playoffs, but they both have a problem with winning a championship.
Yes,
and if you gave me the two,
Lamar Jackson for it.
If you give me the two players between Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen, who's going to quarterback my team to the playoffs, I'm taking Lamar Jackson any day of the week and 2 times on Sunday.
Well, you're wrong, but can you at least admit Josh Allen is a top 5 quarterback? Because you've denied that shit all year.
You got to win something.
Oh my God!
Got to win something. Besides your division,
Allen, like slap you in your face or something. Like, why can't you just not admit it?
I'm not going to admit it. Do you know when we talk about soft divisions? How about the AFC East?
Yeah, and it wasn't like
name me another team.
9-7.
Name me another team in the AFC East that is a legit contender.
None of them.
I
mean, Miami.
Miami was 8-9. They had a losing season.
Okay, that was the next best team. They're in a shitty division, just like the Patriots were for how many years? That division is traditionally dominated by one team, and the other 3 suck. All right, for the last.
And who do the Ravens have to play twice every year? They have to play the Steelers, and they have to play the Bengals twice. Now they get the Cleveland Browns twice, which is what it is. But you've got teams.
You're going to punish Josh Allen for being in a bad division when all he does is win it every year?
How hard is that?
Well, Dak Prescott can't win an easy East every year, can
he? You don't have an easy East.
Man, it's every other year with them. Don't even go. It ain't easy no more. But throughout his career, that shit's been easy.
I wouldn't say that all the time. But, there was a time with Jones and the Giants, he actually tried to play football, and they actually made the playoffs. So,
Well, I think
but
there was
yeah,
one year
no,
all
it's
three of them made the playoffs. But
hands
anyway,
down, it
who's
is
your offensive?
Lamar Jackson.
Who's your? It's not Lamar. Who's your offensive player of the year?
Offensive player of the year? I'm gonna have to go with.
Awkward.
It's gonna have it. Yeah, it's bad because I have to pick. Well, no, actually, to me, it's really close. It's between Barkley and Henry, but I'm gonna go with Barkley. You don't almost break a record that's been there since what the '80s, and not be the offensive player of the year. But there are a lot of standout performances this year. I would even throw CD in there as being showing heart and everything, even though he didn't have his quarterback all year.
but he
But
doesn't
as
have the
far as
stats
the
according to you.
player, it is Barkley.
Look, you can't make the argument of it's heart and it's this, and then you make the case for MVP with stats. Like, you're contradicting yourself. Derrick Henry, as with Lamar Jackson, it's a great tandem. It's a great 1-2 punch. It's phenomenal. It's brilliantly put together, as a team should. But Derrick Henry benefited from his quarterback being Lamar Jackson. And so you got Saquon, who, yes, he almost broke the record, and he had the MVP moment with jumping backwards over a dude. And I think it says a lot more about him that he didn't want to go for, even though I thought he should have. I think it says a lot about him if he didn't want to go and break the record and put his team in a situation. A move that you praised, that you praised him for. But I think Saquon is your offensive player of the year. I agree with you. So, all right, I'll go with defensive player of the year. I'll let you gather your wits. I'm going Trey Hendrickson, the defensive end for the Cincinnati Bengals. He led the league by 3 or 4 sacks over anyone else. Now, I know the Bengals didn't make the playoffs. They missed out. But he had 17 and a half, I think, for the season, or 19 and a half, somewhere around in that range. But I think Trey Henderson is my defensive player of the year. I think if Micah would have been healthy, he might have been in there for it. But Trey Hendrickson, my guy.
Oh, so you're done. Okay.
Well, yeah. What else you want me to say about Trey Hendrickson? He's a game breaker.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. So, what's interesting about this whole thing is that I look at defensive player who causes the most disruption. A lot of people just look at sacks, and that's kind of where, from a defensive player, for interceptions. But I look at who causes the most havoc with teams. So mine is going to be TJ Watt at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, he didn't have as many sacks as he had last year, but you look at the games he played this year and the disruption he causes to other teams. He's a lot like Micah Parsons. You got to kind of know where he's at all times, or you're going to end up having some issues. So, yeah. So my defensive player of the year is going to be TJ Watt. I don't know what happened to Casey. He's been sick, so there he is. He's back. But did you hear what I was talking about?
Yeah. I was here. You see the? Oh, you can't see the bottom. No, I was. Well, the folks on the TikTok live saw what I was doing. I was trying to give you the spotlight, let you shine a little bit, so I could finish a little bit of Texas cheese toast. But yes,
TJ Watt, any other year, I think he's there. I don't think it's a bad pick. No, I was not just looking at sacks. If you're trying to jab me with that,
Why is it ain't always about you, man?
well,
I was just
that's
saying
what
a lot of people look at
this is.
sacks.
This is the dynamic, self-proclaimed father and son duo. Us going at it is what makes this entertaining. Okay, so I think you're jabbing me all the time.
I think you're also leaving out. There's another player. And I got to look at his stats because I apologize. I've not looked at
I
his
considered
stats.
the safety or the corner from the Lions, who had led the league with 9 interceptions.
Mhm.
But I didn't think he was quote unquote a lockdown, dominant, follow the guy everywhere. Interceptions can be so random at times, I guess you could say. But man, Trey Hendrickson is a game wrecker. He affects the game everywhere. All right, I don't know how many Cincinnati Bengal games you watched or didn't watch, but that dude is everything, every inch of disruptiveness as TJ Watt. Going, collapsing a pocket, affecting a quarterback, playing the run.
Well,
Obviously, he doesn't play the pass, but TJ Watt doesn't play the pass very much anymore either. So, but I respect the pick. I really do.
yeah, and who you're talking about from the Lions is Kirby Joseph.
Yes, that's who.
You know, Kirby Joseph has had an amazing year. So has Miles Garrett. You know, and like I said, with Miles Garrett, it sucks because to me he's just on a team that is going nowhere, and we're gonna have to see what happens with them going forward. I know he's got a brand new contract, he's got a lot of guaranteed money. But eventually, I think these players are going to want to win. But so yeah, I'm going with Watt just because I like his game. I think he has really helped the Steelers um, win a lot of games this year, and they weren't, they were kind of inconsistent to a certain extent till they got Russell Wilson in there, and so
Which
I
I'm
think
going to say
TJ
on the
Watt
Russell
to
Wilson
me.
thing. He could be a comeback player of the year candidate. We haven't got there yet. After what happened in Denver, and he got in there, and we both criticized the move going to Russell Wilson on the show. So I think we're both going to have to eat some humble pie on the Russell Wilson thing, because I think we both made a little bit of an argument for Justin Fields at the time, and shame on us. But let's go rookie of the year. Rookie of the year is the next one.
Is
It's
there
a
any
toss-up.
doubt who that is?
I think there is a debate. I'm going to be honest. And it's only between two guys. It's obviously Jaden Daniels for the Commanders.
Yeah.
Right? And Brock Bowers of the Raiders. Now, you can't tell me. If you don't know, look it up. If you haven't paid attention to Brock Bowers.
Are you going to leave out Mr. Bo Nix in this discussion?
He would be a third. He'd be third. Brock Bowers broke every rookie receiving record there is for tight end and receiver.
That's true.
With Aiden O'Connell throwing him the ball. Like, he's the type of tight end that he's a game changing, he's a franchise player. So I think because he played in Vegas and they're not very good, he didn't get a lot of love. Teams were shifting their defenses to him, and he would still catch it. And if you see that man run, ain't no one want to get in front of that dude. But I mean, the rookie of the year is Jaden Daniels on what he did in Washington. And but you're right, Bo Nix does have a case, and he's on the list, but I think he's third.
Well, I would just say Daniels has proven this year, and he's done it in clutch moments. He's made Dan Quinn look like a genius at times. I mean, you had the Hail Mary this year, and you just had some comebacks by a guy that I don't think anybody thought that Washington was going to do a whole lot yet. I think it was going to be a learning year, but he's come out just like the same thing was when Stroud came out. Nobody saw that coming. Yeah. In the chat, I see who's y'all's favorite team and why.
Yeah, you're gonna have to be a little more specific, Tristan. If you're talking NFL, we'll probably get that to our picks towards the end of the show. But if you've watched the show a few times, you'll probably know who my favorite is. Hashtag red, white, and blue team up north somewhere. But and why? Because they had the MVP. But but if you stick around, we're going to get into that a little later with picks with Pops.
Here, I'll help you out for my team this year, there, Tristan. I'll help you out. Who's my team this year? We obviously are Cowboys fans, and like the Cowboys, it's a love-hate relationship. But if the team I'm rolling with, even though I haven't picked them to win the Super Bowl, I'm not changing my pick. I have another team in that division winning the Super Bowl. But
okay. I was like I thought you said never bet against Mahomes, but
I'm talking NFC.
But
and I do think when we get to the Super Bowl picks, I will discuss it. I want to get ahead of us here.
All right. Well, you mentioned comeback player of the year. I'm going to let you take the lead because I know where you're going. The people know where you're going. You're going to put the hat back on. Go ahead. Comeback player of the year. Hit us with it.
It's Sam Darnold. No one saw it coming. Boy. And how long has Sam Darnold been in the league? How many years now?
3-4 years.
Like 4 years. But during that time, he's been pushed aside, hasn't been able to keep a starting job. So he was a filler quarterback, right? That's what everybody thought. He's going to come in, hold the line till they can get the rookie in and all that stuff. But he came in and just tore it up. And him combined with JJ, I just think he is the comeback player of the year for me. He really is. I don't see. I mean, yeah, you want to say Russell Wilson, but Russell Wilson didn't play the whole year. But for me, that's who it is. It's Darnold, without question.
I didn't say I wanted to say Russell Wilson. I said Russell Wilson has a case. Okay, so don't be putting words in my mouth, old man. I agree with you. It is Sam Darnold. Getting pushed aside by Bryce Young and Carolina. Obviously, getting pushed aside for Zach Wilson in New York. It's going to be very, very interesting in Minnesota next year. They just
I agree.
First round.
By the way, the Penn State Notre Dame game is a barn burner. It is 3-0 Penn State with 11:34 left in the second quarter.
Folks, tell your friends if you're watching, stop watching the game. This is more entertaining. That sounds boring as hell. All right. Watch us, a father and son, duke it out. So if you're on TikTok, you go to On Time Sports Talk on YouTube or Facebook. You can find the full show, not just stare at me talk and hear him. But he does have a face for radio. So, what's your little rat dog doing in the back?
Oh, by the way, yeah, that's Roscoe. He's probably 87, 89 years old in dog years. You'll see him now. He's going to do his little dance around to find a spot. And around we go looking for the place to sit down. He's hanging out there by the logo back there.
That is,
but yeah, he's the old man of the house.
Yeah, he is old. He survived falling off a balcony. That dog's been through it. I'll tell you what.
Yes, he has.
All right. Well, those are our awards for the NFL. MVP, O player, D player, Rookie of the Year, and comeback Got our live update on Notre Dame, or I'm sorry, Penn State, Notre Dame. 3-0. And all right, let's get to some scandal. Some scandal. And I know it's smut. I know it should be beneath us, but everyone on Twitter's talking about it. Everyone, I mean, Cam Newton's going on at Jason Whitlock about it. The lawsuit suing FS1 and Skip Bayless for sexual harassment and accusing Joy Taylor of sleeping her way to the top. It's just a crazy storyline. Like, it has been insane on, I talked to one of my female APs, and she was like, what do you think about it? And I was like, I hate to say it, and I don't want to say it, but it.
Before you go any further, one thing we forgot to mention was thoughts and prayers to the people in California right now, going through all the fires and all that. Right now, it's pretty devastating out there. I heard the coach of the Lakers' house burned down. So many people are going through a lot. So thoughts and prayers to everyone out there in California. Please be safe. Don't stick around if the fire's getting close. Get out.
Well, what? You couldn't wait till the commercial break for that? Like,
well, no, I think we should have mentioned that up front now that I thought about it. So,
please. All right. It's probably time for that anyway. Let's hear from our one sponsor that we have. So if you're watching the show, we're looking for more. So sponsors, yes. Ads, but let's go ahead and run this one and hope you enjoy.
Discover the secret to strong leadership with the DISC Work of Leaders assessment, which unlocks your team's potential in vision alignment and execution. Empower your leaders to craft a bold vision foster team alignment and turn innovative ideas into tangible results. Evaluate your team's strengths and pinpoint growth opportunities. Create a roadmap for leadership success. Identify efficiency gaps and enhance communication to build trust and unity across your organization. Transform your leadership team with a tailored growth plan that leverages unique dynamics for ultimate success. Ready to unleash your team's potential? Check out our website and use the code EZ2025 for 20% off in January. That's the code EZ2025 for a 20% discount when you are ready to take your organization to the next level.
All right. Easy Leadership right there. They provide a lot of services. Headed by the man on the other side of the screen from me. I will have a suggestion. You might want to make your commercial fit the screen next time. It's made for obviously phones on that one. So
I appreciate that feedback.
So good commercial, by the way. I liked it. It was solid. So you're getting all technologically advanced over there. But if you see any of the promotional graphics done for our show, that's all me, by the way. So we both got our skills. So if you decide to hire us, we're pretty diverse in our skill set. Editing, audio, and comedic relief. Because not only did we not mention what was going on in California, you didn't say your joke either.
Oh, wow. I did not say my dad's joke. And you put me on the spot. Now I'm having a senior moment.
That way, after the joke, we can get back to the scandal. But
all right.
If you got it, I'll stop delaying for the people out there watching.
What's the best way? You know what? What's the best way to save your dad jokes?
What's the best way to save
your dad jokes?
Have a good punchline. I don't know. Go ahead.
In a database. In a database. The what?
Folks, do not hire us to be comedians. Don't do it. You will lose money, we'll lose money, and we'll never be able to show ourselves ever again if you hire us as comedians and expect people to laugh as far as comedy goes. All right.
Yes.
So, let me clear my throat here. Down in emergency like crazy. Got a game tomorrow. The FS1 scandal came out. You know, a lot of people have opinions about Skip Bayless, good, bad, and different. He's obviously very famous for being in Dallas for a long time. You know, I liked him once upon a time. My opinion of him kind of went south as I got older, probably because I just became more aware of stuff. But he supposedly offered $1.5 million to have someone at the hairdresser or makeup artist to sleep with him because she wouldn't originally. And I'm sitting there like, hey man, 1.5 million, I'll be your hoe. I'll do it. I got it. I'm give me 1.5 million, I'll do it. You doing it for 1.5?
Okay. No, not with Skip Bayless.
2 million? What name your price? Skip might be listening.
Yeah, no. First off, she's his hairstylist. So how I've seen Skip's hair. Now Skip will try to hide the fact that he's losing hair. So I guess she's helped him with that. But who the hell offers somebody $1.5 million for a night? That was a movie. What was that movie? The
Indecent Proposal.
Yeah. And I think that was only for $1 million, wasn't it?
Something like that.
I can't remember.
They're also a married couple. Like,
yeah, but we don't know. Do we know if she's married? Was she married? Miss
these details.
She's Nosheen Faraji. Is her name? If I'm saying that right.
Amazing. I'm just gonna let you know we're in Texas by the hat. And, no, I don't speak German. I'm sorry. Sorry, I had to respond to a fan there on the old TikTok. Yeah, it's just crazy. 1.5. I mean, he is like 73 years old, but he's supposed to be in good shape. Like he's supposed to work out. Like I don't know what kind of working environment do they have? Because not only did this lawsuit talk about Skip Bayless offering that money, they talked about Joy Taylor supposedly, allegedly sleeping her way to the top. And so, like before we went all serious, when I was talking about this, is I was talking to one of my own female colleagues, and she's like, "What do you think? You know, you're in the sports world, you talk about this stuff. Like, what do you think?" And I go, "I don't want to say this because I don't want it to sound rude or sexist or anything like that, but it makes you question anyone who gets in that position at that company that is a female because of the work environment and the toxicity of what it was to get ahead." And so I think that's a dangerous thing to do.
Oh.
And, Joy Taylor, I mean,
we don't know what actually happened, but the one thing that I think is interesting in here, because I haven't really watched this, to me, this is just kind of side crap. But the fact that Joy makes fun of her accent when she's trying to confide in her, because I guess she's German, I guess, but she made fun of her accent when she tried to tell her about this. But once again, all this is speculation. All of it, you never know what the real story is. We may find that out at some point.
Well,
maybe Skip didn't offer her 1.5. Maybe Skip didn't offer her anything. Maybe it's just a person who's getting out to get the money. Now, but the fact that it has a little bit of some other play into it is we'll have to see. It's like I said, I don't I don't like making judgments before everything comes out and things go through the court system. We hopefully find out the real story, maybe the real story. But to me, it's just, and quite frankly, being a Cowboy fan, I can't stand Skip Bayless. The times he has gone and thrown Cowboys jerseys in the trash during the season to try and pump himself up as this big Cowboy fan and then this big Cowboy hater. I'm not a big fan of Skip Bayless. I'm just not. And so to me, it's just more fire for the dumpster fire, so to speak. That was the show Undisputed and all the stuff that went on there.
I will say, what is confirmed with the Joy Taylor thing is she slept with Emmanuel Acho, and he was posting a video propping her up in his car in her parking garage after it happened. So there's obviously shady stuff going down at FS1 at Fox Sports 1. And they got a major cleanup that they're gonna have to do. Obviously, yes, it's technically all speculation. Nothing's been proven in the court of law, all that stuff. But we also know people lie in the court of law and never won't get.
No.
So let's not act like everyone has a moral compass of
if
right.
If it don't fit, you must acquit.
Yeah, let's not talk about that trial. But the other thing is you have people branching off of this, and you have Jason Whitlock, who used to work at FS1, who used to work at ESPN. He has his own very popular podcast now. And him and Cam Newton are getting into it because Jason Whitlock was like, I was always kind of wary of Joy Taylor, and he was
the hell does Cam Newton get into it with? Dude's like fighting with everybody.
Well, yes. And that's what keeps him relevant because he likes to get into it. But, it's just a lot of fun. It's entertaining at times. Like, I'll be fully honest. I've watched my fair share of trashy reality television. That's probably why these intrigue me to a point. But it's real life.
Jerry.
And not even Jerry. I mean, like, are you the one? Like, I could go into a lot of them. But, Flavor Flav, stuff like that. But so it's just a crazy storyline. Like, real life is stranger than fiction most of the time. So,
oh yeah,
and so you got people getting into it, and not only in the scandal, but you got Shaq and Dwight Howard beefing right now. The big man, Dwight Howard, saying, "Hey, you've been hating on me for 20 years," and they're going back and forth on Twitter, and that has been entertaining. LeBron and Charles Barkley right now are getting into it because Barkley says he ain't even above Kobe, and LeBron thinks he's God's gift to basketball. So,
I have to agree with Sir Charles on this. LeBron ain't even close to me to Jordan, just because he's just not, and he's a whiner.
Well, I agree with you. It's one of those things. I mean, LeBron is undoubtedly one of the greatest players that ever played the game. But
what gets me is how the NBA tried to push him up and make him better. He made that dunk in the Mavericks game, and oh my God, did you see LeBron make that dunk in the? It's just to me. It was. There's been such this push to make him into, to me, what he's not, and he's not the greatest player. I would take Kobe over him any day of the week, 2 times on Sunday. Kobe, give me the choice between the two. I'm taking Kobe.
I agree with you. We're not going to butt heads on this. Ultimately, because I'm a self-admitted LeBron hater. I was in high school at the same time as him. I hated seeing his games on TV. Call it some jealousy out of some, both high school basketball players at the time. And you see this dude on TV, and you're like, who the fudge sickle is this? And he's been great, but I have a feeling the LeBron world is going to come crashing down when that Diddy list comes out. Just saying. I think he's on it. I think he's on the Diddy list. I really think he is. So calling that, but yeah, crazy back and forth between LeBron. I have it written down here. One of the things Charles said that LeBron didn't like was on LeBron's teams, it's always an excuse. It's Russell Wilson, it's D'Angelo Russell, it's this, and you start looking through his teammates, that he had to have to win. Dwayne Wade, top 5 player in the league when he joined up. Chris Bosh, top 10 player in the league. Anthony Davis, top 5 player in the league. Kevin Love was a top 15 player in the league when they traded for him, and he had Kyrie Irving. So to me, LeBron's a higher gun. And matter of fact, you go back to the decision, and I know people would say, let it go, let the decision go. No, how he did Cleveland and how he made a show of it was piss poor. And then he goes back to Cleveland, and everyone, oh my God, he's back. And then he leaves y'all again for Los Angeles. LA, the way they live and attract stuff, that might be why fires are going on. Jesus said, y'all need to get right. So,
but the thing, like I said, we don't want to make light of what the people are going through out there, but LeBron he's just not in the same class. And he, unfortunately, I have a lot of respect for players who keep their mouth shut and do their job and let their play on the field or on the court speak for itself. One of my favorite players is Walter Payton. There's a reason there's a Walter Payton Award, because he wasn't full of himself and he gave everything he had on the field.
Calm down.
Guys like Barry.
Said, calm down, Gen X.
And then Barry Sanders, Jerry Rice. It's funny because all of those good players played during the Gen X years. So,
yeah.
And that's back in the Gen X years was when the Cowboys were winning championships. So
that is accurate. All right, let's move on from the beef, from the scandal. We got Cowboys. We got to hear from Sir George one last time, and before he goes on holiday. So
let me see if he's here.
Say what?
See if he's here. Let me see if he's here.
Oh, he's here. Yeah, Sir George. We discovered we were cousins a long time ago, or right, not long. It feels like a long time ago, but right before the season. And yeah, ultimately, he's on the King's Guard. He's guarding the Queen, King and Queen, man. But he worked all through holidays. As you learned last week, he set the pudding on fire. They said, Sir George, you need a vacation. You need a holiday. So he's going out on holiday. And so we're not going to see him for a little bit. I think he's predicted to get back to Buckingham around the Super Bowl time frame. So maybe there. So yeah. I've been changing screens and stuff. Well, I'll talk about this since it was asked. Tristan, my man, the Juan Soto thing right here, that was crazy. That was a crazy one. We talked about that extensively a few weeks ago. It just an insane amount of money, and way to shaft it to the Yankees. Our boys at Tired Sports letting us know, hot take, LeBron highly overrated. So, all right. Nope, wrong screen. There it is. All right, there's Sir George.
Hello from England. How are you?
Hey, Sir George, I got a surprise for you.
Oh, you do?
You
You
ready?
got some crumpets?
Nah, look at this background.
Oh, nice. I love that. Oh, look at that. That's my red. Of course, I never wear my red coat when I'm off duty, even though I do wear my hat. I don't wear my red coat. I mean, that's really cool. There's the Bridge of London. There's Big Ben. I had a girlfriend when I went up in Big Ben one time, and well, I'm not going to tell you what exactly happened, but
What
all I
what's
can
your
say
nickname?
is when the clock struck midnight, there was screaming and gnashing of teeth. That's all I can say about that.
Okay, yeah, let's leave it there, Sir George. Hey, we're just having you on real quick tonight. We wanted to
Seems
get
weird.
ultimately the Cowboy season is wrapped up, and we wanted to know how you're feeling about the Cowboy season and moving on to the off season. We're not going to see you till probably around the Super Bowl because you're on vacation. So let us know. What do you think?
Well, they're bloody ridiculous, right? First off, you asked me to come on here after we found out we're cousins, and you asked me to watch the Cowboys.
I did.
And, because obviously we had heard about the Cowboys. It's supposedly America's team, you bloody Yanks who couldn't handle having a king and left. But the Cowboys are one of the biggest disappointments, I would say, worldwide. And I want to tell you why I bloody think this, because I've been to Dubai, I've been to Germany, I've been to these places, and you know what you'll find there? You'll find Cowboy fans. And some of them don't even bloody know anything about the game, but they do know about the Dallas Cowboys. But the problem with the Cowboys is they suck. They suck. And they have sucked. And this is what gets me. We have football in England, right? And you have your American football. Our teams here, if they don't suck, they get better. At least in a year or so, they get better. How long has it been since the Cowboys? I think the Queen was probably 16 years old before she passed. The last time the Cowboys won a championship, wasn't it? What was it, 1895 or something like that?
1995, Sir George. It was 1995.
1995. Well, who remembers back that far?
I mean,
Does
most
anybody
people watching can remember.
Were you even born then? Were you even born?
Yes, I was 9 years old.
You were 9 years old. Do you remember those?
I do.
Yeah.
I could probably tell you the entire
that's
starting
good.
lineup for the Dallas Cowboys from then.
It's kind of like I was describing. If you've ever been to France has these topless beaches, right? And you get yes, they have topless beaches, and you can go out there. Well, good ladies don't have to wear their top, right? So you get all excited, right? Because you're thinking, oh my goodness, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to see some nice Ghiblis, right? I'm going to go out there and see
some nice what?
Some nice ones. Ghiblis.
Ghiblis?
Ghiblis. You know what I'm talking about. So you get all excited, and I'm like I said, this is a parallel to the Dallas Cowboys. Is that you get all excited because you think you're going to see some really good Ghiblis. But then you get there and you realize when you first see them that these people should not be topless. I told you about what happened with Charles and the time when I saw his lady and they rolled down to the floor. Well, that's the problem in France. You've got big ones, small ones, little ones, but it's not like what you imagine. And that's where I think the Cowboys were a crappy pair of Ghiblis this year. Is what it is. That's my analogy.
Did you just compare the Dallas Cowboys to Ghiblis?
Ghiblis.
George,
Not
you're
Ghiblis.
obviously thinking about your
Giblets are something you
vacation
eat.
on the beaches of France, Sir George.
Yes.
We're
Ghiblis.
gonna have to let you go on that. We can't have any more Ghibli talk. Wow.
All right. Well, I appreciate it, and maybe you bring me back for the Super Bowl. I've got. Well, I'm hearing Charles is screaming for some more pudding, so I better go.
Burnt pudding. All
Bye,
right, get out of here.
everybody.
Holy shit, Ghiblis? Really? Oh man. Yeah. Oh man. Sir George on it tonight. Holy Christ. Yeah. So has anyone out there ever heard women's breasts referred to as Ghiblis? I haven't. I don't know. That's weird. Of course, he is from England. So, oh man. All right. Well, next up, we got the Cowboys. Sir George, obviously, very disappointed in the Dallas Cowboys this year. And it's my fault. I told him to be a fan of the Dallas Cowboys. And yeah, there it is right there. So, oh man. All right. Let's bring them back. Oh, there it is. Welcome back.
There you go. Live call from England there. I heard the Ghiblis talk. That's kind of crazy.
I've never heard a NFL team compared to a pair of breasts named Ghiblis. That was a new one.
Well, I can't disagree that they are crappy ones for sure.
I don't disagree at all on that assessment, but he's obviously thinking about his vacation. All right, Dallas Cowboys. A little bit from last week, closed out the season. Did Trey Lance show you anything?
No.
No?
No. I mean, he can run.
I think he's good enough to be your backup quarterback.
What do you think they're going to do with Rush, though?
I think they're going to let him go. He's a free agent.
Yeah. Do you think a team's going to want him?
I think there are teams that'll want Cooper Rush, and I think that's going to drive the price tag up. And I think you need every dollar right now if you're the Dallas Cowboys to have a good offseason, and you don't need to overpay.
And here's the thing we know about the Dallas Cowboys and JJ about being all in is that at what point is it going to be enough trap? And here's the thing, and I was listening to, I think, Stephen A. Smith, who I don't necessarily always agree with, but he was talking about the fact that it is always about Jerry Jones. And I cannot disagree because when he gave his interview after this last game, when they said, well, would you think about putting someone else in at GM? And he said, well, no, when I bought this team, I didn't make an investment. I knew I was buying an occupation and I was going to be in that occupation till the day I die. And that tells us everything we need to know right there is that he is not willing. You know, what gets me is because when you talk about Gen X and the Cowboys, when Jerry Jones took over, it was an uproar because he was firing the only coach the Cowboys had in Tom Landry, even though Tom Landry's time had passed. And all he talked about was winning. And that's what he said. He said, we are going to win and we are going to do what it takes to win. And they did. And nobody believed him when he first got there. And he did. And now he doesn't talk like that anymore. And everybody wishes says, what happened to that guy? Because the guy who brought in the Charles Haley's, the guy who brought in the Deion Sanders, when there was a hot commodity, hot player out there, you knew the Cowboys were going to be in play to get that player. And now let's wait until everybody else is drafted and the prices have ran up, and it's like when people go shopping on Black Friday and all these people wait in line, and then you show up 3 hours after they let everybody in thinking you're going to get a good deal. That's kind of how Jerry Jones runs it. He's going to Walmart 3 hours after the doors open.
Yeah, I mean, we obviously talked about that extensively. If he has the art of the deal masterfully backwards. By the way, Penn State is up 10-0 on Notre Dame. So, live
I picked to win.
So, Notre Dame's gonna make the comeback. But yeah, the Cowboys. I've said it. I said it. I don't know if I've said it on the podcast, but I don't know if they win a Super Bowl while he's alive. I think he is the biggest hindrance to the team right now, just like Daniel Snyder was the biggest hindrance to the Washington Redskins when he owned them, otherwise known as the Commanders or football team, whichever era you want to go with.
Washington Comics.
So, and you see this, you see this right now with Big Mike. You see this with Big Mike McCarthy, man. The Bears wanted to interview him. He says no. There hasn't been any progress. There's no deal in place. But he's holding them hostage, and he's probably going to wait till next effing Tuesday to get a deal done when his contract actually expires, just like he did with Dakota Rain Prescott, as Sir George would call him, hours before the damn season. And it's going to be the worst move you could do because Mike McCarthy, go be the Chicago Bears. You need a young, innovative coach that relates to the players and can really see and take advantage of this talent.
I'm going to have a little bit of a different take on this. I don't think it's McCarthy's fault. I think it is the ownership's fault. I think McCarthy is actually a pretty good coach. I think he's a good offensive mind. But this year, there were a lot of things that came together as far as injuries and all that stuff. But the ownership didn't help it. And unfortunately, the problem that McCarthy has, to me, is that he doesn't push back enough. That's why Jerry hires the people he hires. He's only hired one coach or two coaches that ever pushed back, and that was the one that won the Super Bowls, and Jimmy Johnson. And Barry Switzer came up. That was Jimmy Johnson's team. That was not Barry Switzer's team, even though Switzer had to coach them. I'll give him credit for that. And then the other one was Bill Parcells. And, and they were a Romo extra point kick away from being able to go forward. But since then, you look at the coaches, it's coaches that Jerry can control. And
only been two, since then.
Hmm?
It's only been Jason Garrett and Mike McCarthy. Like it's not like he's done the Cleveland Browns or had 18 coaches in 15 years or some bull crap.
Well, you're leaving out some guys' names there. You're talking Wade Phillips was there.
You said you're right. And after Bill Parcells, it was Wade Phillips, then Jason Garrett. You're right. That was it.
Yep. And to me, Wade Phillips didn't get a fair shot. I think Wade Phillips. I thought he was doing pretty well, and I don't think he got a fair shot. But
Gen Xers sticking together. I agree with one of your original points in the fact of the Mike McCarthy. He hasn't had the best support from his management in 100%. But at the end of the day, I think there's things he could have done better, and I think a younger, more inventive mind would do that. And it's funny is like you start looking around the league. Well, who had a top 2 or 3 offense this year in the league It's the guy you wanted to crush multiple times in Kellen Moore. And he's obviously proven that when he has talent, he can do good things. So it's when you have talent, you can do good things. Mike McCarthy has had talent 3 out of the last 4 years. Okay.
Hold dang phone here. So you're going to say Kellen Moore in San Diego didn't have talent?
Not particularly. He had Herbert. Mike Williams is such.
He had Herbert. He also had the wide receiver. I can't think of his name off the top of my head. Who's now
who went to Chicago and still stinks is Keenan Allen.
Yeah, had Keenan Allen. He's had talent. They had Mack on the defense. They have Bosa on the defense. But you don't even bring up Moore's name. Moore is not going to. He had talent in Dallas too. So
yes,
and they still couldn't get out of his own way
repeatedly in the league.
Yeah, no more, and that's who you're. Is that who you're pushing for the next coach of the Cowboys?
Hell no, I'm not pushing for Kellen Moore. I'm just making the point. All right. I've already told you who I'm pushing for. It's Ben Johnson, the offensive coordinator for the Lions. Or
you know it ain't gonna happen.
Fire Mike McDaniel. I'll take Mike McDaniel. But no, I don't. I like Kellen Moore as a coordinator. I sure in the hell don't want him as my head coach. I don't care if it's the Cowboys or my Pee Wee League.
Let's talk about this for the who wants to come to the Cowboys and deal with the JJ show.
Well, that's a great question. That's a great question.
I personally think Doug Peterson is a decent coach. I think he unfortunately was a victim of injuries this year. But I think Doug Peterson, because he did well with the Jaguars when his quarterback was upright. He did well with the Eagles. I don't think he's a bad coach. But none of these guys, why would you come to the Cowboys? Because you're going to have to deal with the crap.
Well, I mean, it's because the only thing you can sell them on is because the Cowboys. If you win here, you will be a legend. You will be immortalized. And,
But you won't. As long as JJ is alive.
We've already
talked. And I don't wish any ill will on him. Let me just put that out there. I don't wish any ill will on him. But he has turned into the Al Davis that Al Davis was before when he got way older and into his years. No one would listen to him. When he was younger, they could win. The Raiders were a damn good football team. And so were the Cowboys when JJ was younger.
I completely got off track of the actual question, but is Mike McCarthy back?
Yes.
All right, that's really what we were trying to get to. And if, in your opinion, if he's back, is it a mistake?
I don't think it's a mistake to keep McCarthy. I think the mistake is going to be if they don't put players on the team. That is, to me, it's not the coaching. I think the coaching was decent. And I mean, they won games with Cooper Rush and basically nobody on the offensive line anymore. So I think it's about players. The Cowboys don't need coaches; they need players.
And speaking of one of those players, one of them is predicting Super Bowls next year.
Yeah.
Can you take a pick who that is?
Yeah, I know. It's Micah again. And I love the enthusiasm. I love the tenacity or whatever. But, unfortunately for Micah, if he doesn't get into Jerry's office and get some of the other players in there to say, look, you screwed us this year. You really did. You screwed us. Because we can win football games if you get some players. And Micah was the first one to come out and say, you don't have to pay me to be the highest player. I want players around me to help me win a championship.
You're right.
And
He did
so,
say that, but he's not going to say what you said because he's going to get paid first before he does any of that. He's not going to rock the boat a ton under that. So I think it's crazy.
saying?
But what do you think of Tyreek Hill? He wants out of Miami. Should we bring him to Dallas? Should they try to go get him?
Well, see, and this is that beginning, right, of when we start talking about these high profile players. Last year, we were like, "Ooh, who are the running backs? Derrick Henry. Ooh, who's Shaquan Barkley's leaving the Giants? Ooh, the Cowboys could get him. The Cowboys could get him." So it's once again, could they use him? Of course, he'd be great to have on the other side of the field. You put Cooks, him, and CeeDee Lamb, and throw in a little bit of dab of Turpin. Yeah, of course it would be great to have him, but it just I don't get excited about that crap anymore because we know what JJ does.
Well, I understand that, but we got to have talking points for the show. Okay. Like the rumors out there, people are saying bring him to Dallas. They say they needed. Brandon Cooks is gone. He's not coming back, especially if you trade for Tyreek Hill. It would be CeeDee Lamb, Tyreek Hill, Tolbert, and Turpin would be
Hill's agent also came out today and said, pay no attention to the guy that's wearing the helmet. He wants to stay in Miami. He wants to be there.
He literally took the Dolphins off of his Twitter and posted a picture of him with a peace sign saying I'm out. But you got to think of the theoretical. I think that would add that other wide receiver on the opposite side of CD. And that's a game breaker, just like you got to make bold moves. And I know we're talking about Jerry Jones, but like when the Eagles went out and got A.J. Brown, like that's a bold move. Okay. Now, Jerry hasn't always made the smartest decisions on getting bold with wide receivers, hashtag Roy Williams. But the move for Terrell Owens was a good one for a few years, right? You know, I mean, obviously it didn't end well, but it was really potent with Jason Witten, with that running game, with Tony Romo. And I think with Dak, Tyreek, CD, I think they're going to draft Genty if he's there. And then you add Ferg in there that you love. I think Schoonmakers actually has more potential than him now. And ultimately, you'd have a potent offense. I think you really would. So, but the standouts from this season for the Cowboys, I'm going to give you kind of mine and let you react to them. You mentioned the line. The line got better as the year got through. Like they started running the ball towards the end of the year. That stuff is, that was very surprising. And Brock Hoffman proved to me that he's a starting guard in this league.
I'm not going to argue with you on that. I think we saw a lot of inconsistency, but of course we saw a lot of injury. And to me, Zach Martin just had a huge drop off this year, not just because he got hurt, which is obviously it happens every year the older he gets. But I do think that, there's promise on the line. I think the rookies did do well after they started getting it together.
Well, I think
yeah.
Did well. I don't think
so we're gonna.
Titan did great.
So,
but I do want to get to a comment right here. Damo asked, "Do you think T. Higgins is going to leave the Bengals? If he's smart, he would stay in Cincinnati. That's what I would say. And play with Joe Burrow and across from Jamar Chase. But if the man wants to get paid, he ain't going to stay in Cincy. He's going to want that $30 million plus. So that's the tough thing about being in that salary cap league. So that's a good question on T. Higgins. I think he would be great in Dallas too, by the way, but we ain't going to spend the money on him. So, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and the thing about it is I just think with Higgins, with Hill, when you start talking about the Cowboys, until Jerry goes out and signs one of these big names, nobody's going to believe a damn word he says about it.
So what you're telling me is you don't want to talk any Cowboys speculation this offseason until something happens. That's what you're telling me.
No, I will talk speculation, but the thing is, and who I want, of course, I would want Hill. I also want to see a good defensive player next to, or at least on the line with Micah. I unfortunately, I love Florence. I think Tank is. I think he's starting to reach the end of his career. I don't know if he's going to play another game in a Cowboy uniform.
Yeah, he's
but,
done.
We need another defensive lineman that can get after it. And we haven't had that.
I'm going to say this: you have two solid ones outside of that with Nealon and Golston, and then you add Sam Williams, who might be the fastest defensive end in the league because he plays punt coverage as a gunner. A lot of people forget Sam Williams got hurt in training camp, just like they didn't give any credit to Overshown last year getting hurt. So I think Sam Williams has the potential to be an impact player. But unless they restructure contracts, there's not going to be much of an offseason to talk about because they could potentially have $100 million in cap room. But if they don't do that, then it's just going to be the same old, and the same garbage.
Well, the key is they've got to, depending on the draft, the key is they have to get a running back. And it's going to have to be one of these guys in the draft. And of course, Genty would be amazing. And that would, to me, that right there, whether you get another receiver or not, because I think Turpin's proved this year that they started using him more. He's not a big guy, but once he gets the ball, it's very hard to catch him.
Turpin's a gadget. He's not a full-time wide receiver. But I was trying to get on this series of standouts from the season, and you take me all these random damn places. I thought Leofau was a heck of a standout this year. I think he's going to be a good linebacker next to Overshown. Once Overshown gets healthy, they're going to find another linebacker somewhere to fill in there. And the big question mark, you mentioned, running back. Do they try to bring Dowdle back?
Okay, so what do I want versus what I think they'll do? What I want is them to go and get a marquee player at running back. Do I think Dowdle proved he can carry the load for certain time? Dowdle to me is just like Pollard was when Zeke was young and Zeke was a feature back. You brought in Pollard to have that mix, and it worked. But that to me, Dowdle is not your main horse, so to speak. I think they need to go get somebody, and I really want them to go get Jonte and bring him in as the running back because we just need that. And I mean, the last time they did that with Zeke, the team just took things to another level. Of course, nobody saw Dak coming in as a rookie in the 5th round doing what he did. But so yeah, I think they bring him back. Yes, absolutely. But I don't think he needs to be the feature back. But knowing how the Cowboys are, they'll say, we like our guys.
I think that'll prove
Damo is right.
Okay.
Not gonna get me to argue with that because he's right. Well, JJ runs the team just like Mike Brown. They both need to go. I agree.
All right. I would say this is I think Dowdle proved he can be a starting caliber back, but I think he's best suited as a 2. I think there are a lot of good running backs in this draft class, so I don't think it's Genty or bust, but dream scenario would be Ashton Genty. I really like Martinez from Miami.
Mhm.
I love the Ohio State running back as well. There's a lot of talent in running back in this upcoming draft. What he was referring to was this. JJ needs to go, and Mike Brown for the Bengals. All right, so, all right. Let's try to start wrapping this up. We got playoff picks with Pops, and let's knock that out. And then I got and I think that might be it, unless you had a sports peeve. I had one, but I think I'm gonna save it for another show. I'm struggling over here. For those who don't
Do we want to quickly talk about what we think about college?
talk about what?
College.
We talked about
We
it.
got game tonight and then a game tomorrow.
Yeah.
And right now,
Ohio State, and I picked Notre Dame, and I picked Ohio State to win it after my forgiveness tour, and you picked Penn State to win the whole thing. Yeah, we I figured we would address the next round when those games have taken place to see who's in the national championship. So, but I think
all right. Well, right now Penn State's still winning at halftime, 10-3.
10-3.
And tomorrow we are all Ohio fans.
All right. Let's go. Broncos at Buffalo. Who you got?
This is my upset. I think Josh Allen and Buffalo go down to Bo. I think you've got a coach coming in with Sean Payton who has playoff experience, and he has a young quarterback who does not realize where he's at yet. And yeah, it's probably going to be cold. We'll see, but Denver's cold too. So there's my upset. Denver takes out the Bills in the first round.
Folks, he's only doing this to piss me off. Just letting y'all know. It's Buffalo with the league MVP.
See, even Damo agrees with me. Damo agrees with me.
He's saying it to piss me off too. He knows I'm on the Josh Allen train. But I'll put you over here, even though you're mistaken. All right, Steelers at Baltimore.
Oh, it's Baltimore all day. Ravens are winning that, going away.
I normally pick an upset, but I can't do it. I think that's Baltimore. No, he's wrong, and he's wrong, Damien. And stop enabling his terrible behavior. All right, Chargers at Houston.
Chargers. LA Superchargers are going to take out the Texans. The Chargers are battle tested because they've had to play in the division that they play. And I just think the Texans, they're a few players away in my mind. So yeah, it's the LA Superchargers.
I tend to agree with you on that. As far as those teams, I don't think Houston is playing particularly well. I don't know. I mean, you made all good points there. I ain't got nothing to add to it. They do play in one of the toughest divisions in the league when it comes to the Kansas City Chiefs and Broncos. I got the Chargers as well. All right, Packers at Philly.
I'm going to go with Philly, as much as I hate to say that. I think Philly takes out Green Bay in the first round just because I think Philly's got a better running game. Green Bay's a little bit banged up.
I wanted to double check. I was going to put an asterisk on this pick, but Jalen Hurts did return to practice today. It sounds like he's playing. I got to go with Philly as well. I don't think the Packers are playing hot going into the playoffs like they did last year when they ran over our boys. All right. Washington at Tampa Bay.
I'm going with Baker Mayfield, saying the Bucs are going to win that game.
Oh, man. Damien seems to be picking with us. Who you got, Damien? Tampa Bay or Washington? Fill us in when you hear this statement, because it is a little delayed. I'm going to go with Washington, the rookie sensation, Jaden Daniels, Dan Quinn, and that's where I'm going. All right, our last one. I know where you're going. I know what you're picking. I know who you are. If you put the hat on, it's going to look like a sawed-off whatever. And Vikings at the Los Angeles Rams.
Yes, it is. These guys.
So, folks, he's
Sam Darnold all the way. Vikings.
Yep. He's going Vikings. I'm going the Rams. Really, just so I can rub it in your face that you got it wrong, just like you're picking the Broncos over Buffalo. I think the Rams got a better head coach. I think they got a more experienced team and more experienced quarterback. And the Cinderella run of the Vikings comes in because there's any franchise who never gets it done other than the Bills, it is the Vikings. So, historically. So there's picks with pops. I think we're going to save the pet peeves for next week. And And I mean, I even had some new stuff here, but man, I forgot to use these. I'm gonna be honest, I forgot. I had these made up, going Charles and Barkley. Like, where
You gotta move us around here.
I ain't messing around. Why not? Why isn't it putting us over on the side? That's BS.
I don't know. You're in charge of the technology here.
There we go. That's what I was really looking for. But we had Charles and LeBron beefing, and then I had Shaq and Dwight Howard going at it, but forgot to use those. Spent all that time on that today, and no luck. Forgot to use them. All right. Well, folks, if you stuck around, I know it was a tough one, man. It was fighting the college football playoff when it comes to ratings tonight. So and viewers. So
Yep.
Here soon that'll all be gone. We'll be the only entertaining thing on Thursday nights because no football on. Moving forward, you're just gonna be stuck with me and the old man. So,
yes, and you will be crying because my picks will all be right, and Josh Allen will be at home on the couch listening to our podcast.
You're wrong, sir. You're wrong. All right. Oh man, been fighting this the whole time, folks.
Keep it up there, Nittany Lions still winning 10-3, 13:55 into the third quarter. It's a barn burner.
It is. We appreciate everyone watching. commenting.
Yep.
I learned the thing where you can put this up on the screen. You know, Damian picked Philly. He was telling Pops to preach, which was a bunch of bull crap. Love you, D. But
Thank you, Damo.
So
I tried to raise him right. He still ain't got it.
anyways, we ain't got no one to thank because we ain't got it. Our one sponsor, Easy Leadership, already got their commercial played. So, you know, I will say I am in talks with a nonprofit that helps veterans. I think we may bring them on. We're not going to be making any money off it, but I think their cause is worth it. And you know, I told y'all last week that our platform, we really wanted to grow to help our veteran community out there, and you know, with PTSD and everything else. That's why we picked the color we did. That's PTSD awareness and
one last thing to, like I said, to the people in LA, you guys hang in there. And we know that the Rams and the Chargers are still planning on playing their games, but I know a lot of people have been affected outside of sports, and it's just devastation. So thoughts and prayers to you guys. Help out where you can help out. Send money to Red Cross, or just check on your family and all that stuff, because it's one of the worst disasters they've had. I mean, fires are fires. I lived in Southern California for many years, but this is just it's a lot worse.
Yeah, it's it seems like every time our first two live shows, we've had two messed up tragedies day before we coming on. So
yeah, let's change that next week.
And hopefully, you know, still been thinking about and praying for those in New Orleans and Las Vegas as well, on top of the fires. So D, love you as well. And hopefully that best man speech is coming along for you. But all right, y'all, we're gonna
take it easy. Take care, Damo. Everybody who's listening, have a good night.
Enjoy our in-stream video that has been created. Peace.